I feel so far away. Will you guys come forward a little bit? This is about community engagement, so we want to engage, right? All right. Can you all hear me okay on Zoom?
Sounds good.
Awesome. Okay, great. While we're waiting for any last stragglers to come into the meeting, if you guys can each take one distraction, whether you're joining me on Zoom or whether you're here in this room, take one distraction, whether that be your phone or something that you're carrying, mentally or heavy on your heart. Take that distraction and just remove it from the picture. So if it's a phone, just put it face down so that you're not seeing the, all the notifications. If you're like my phone, it's crazy. Or if you've got the TV on, if you're on Zoom, if you've got the TV on in the background, just turn that off. We want to make sure that we're really intentional. You guys are taking the time out of your day for this 1 hour. And we want to make sure that you get everything that you can out of it. You are dying over here in the sun. Do you want to scooch back one so that you're more comfortable? Perfect. All right, am I good to, should we start? Yeah? I always like to start right on time to help. If anybody ever joins my meetings, even 3 minutes late, they know it's my meeting. I've already started. I always like to champion the people who arrive on time and early. So thank you guys so much for being here today. I want to congratulate you on, taking this time for yourself. Truly, any workshop or any class that you take for advancement of your own personal being is worth celebrating. So I want to give you all a huge round of applause for being here, and thank you. And I hope that when we walk away from this, you'll have some nuggets that you can take with you to really hone in on your entrepreneurial prowess. So over the next hour, we're going to be talking about community engagement. And what does community engagement mean? Does it mean, oh, I know everybody in the room? No, not necessarily. What it does mean is that when you go to expand your network, you are intentional about it, you're transparent about it, and you feel empowered after, if you've gone into a room and made the connections that you wanted to make, that you're leaving empowered, and that the connections that you are making are both mutually beneficial for the person that you're engaging with, but also for yourself. And a lot of times in community engagement and partnerships, we always, especially as creatives or people in the nonprofit space, we always lead with our heart. And sometimes we forget that we've also got to take care of our heart, right? Anybody ever be there? So my name is Jess Belfry. I'm going to be with you facilitating this class for the next hour. I am the chapter chair of SCORE. If you are not familiar with SCORE, SCORE is the nation's largest free business mentoring network in the United States. We are powered by the Small Business Association, and here locally we have 53 mentors on our team. And the mentors meet one-on-one, or maybe you're lucky to have a co-mentor or a team mentor, where you meet and you bring either your business ideas, or if you're in business, you can bring your struggles, or if you fell flat on your face, that's okay. You just come to us, we talk about it, and we pivot strategies, and we move on. A little bit about me. I am the chapter chair of SCORE. I also am the president of the board of directors for SD Gunner Fund. SD Gunner Fund is a local nonprofit that serves military, children with disabilities, as well as first responders. And through that, they do service dog training, therapy dog training, as well as education and advocacy for the underrepresented groups of military families, children with disabilities, and first responders. I also am the creator and director of Savannah Carnival. Savannah Carnival is an annual fundraising event. If you've never been, it's at the last weekend of July. And it is 3.5 hours of nonstop, jam-packed, every 20 minutes, different crazy entertainment. And everybody always leaves with their mouths on their floor and their pocketbooks empty because they give it all to Savannah Carnival because it is a fundraiser. In our first year, we raised about $10,000. In our second year, the year of COVID, we still sold out the event and raised $23,000. Last year was our third year, and we raised $105,000. This year, we're going to be raising $200,000, so we're just moving on up. And through Carnival, it really shows and showcases the power of community engagement. So we'll be talking a little bit about that. As we go through this, I want to get to know you guys a little bit. So I'm going to start within the room, and then we're going to move to you folks on Zoom. I want to get to know, what space do you come from? Whether you're a nonprofit or you're a creative, what brought you to this class today? So Angela, I'm going to start with you.
Okay, my name is Angela Ivanovsky. I am a real estate agent, so I'm on the profit side, of course. And I came to this because I'm starting a new business venture with a partner, and I've used SCORE to help me put that business together.
Awesome, perfect, thank you. Rachel, you want to chime in?
Yeah, so I'm Rachel. I'm the marketing coordinator here at the Savannah Cultural Arts Center. So we are engaging the community and getting people involved in the arts and art programming here. And then I'm also involved with a nonprofit in animal rescue realm. So same thing on that side, with that kind of fundraising and community outreach perspective.
Awesome. CJ?
My name is CJ. I'm the contract coordinator for the Cultural Resources Department. I manage our two Leave a Dream and ACE programs, which are investment programs. So I work with a lot of nonprofits, and just hoping that this class helps me give them advice and me help them through when they're doing our grant process.
Awesome, thank you.
My name is Antonia. I'm an art specialist here at the Cultural Arts Center, and I'm working on a business plan with a nonprofit.
Awesome. And Antonia, the nonprofit, what sector of nonprofit? Who will you be serving?
Youth.
Youth, awesome.
My name is Ebony Middleton. I'm the senior admin here, and I'm interested in getting into the nonprofit world, just trying to find out where to start.
Awesome. Okay, tell me a little bit about my Zoom folks. Show me if you guys can raise your hands or come off of mute. I see a few names that I recognize. Tell me a little bit, by show of hands, who is in the nonprofit sector? All right, a good bit. And who of you on the Zoom are a full-fledged, in-it-to-win-it, full-time entrepreneur or small business owner? Welcome, welcome, welcome. And who here is kind of dabbling, maybe getting your feet wet in entrepreneurism or looking at maybe starting a nonprofit, but maybe it's not your full-time hustle? Lots of those. Okay, so we've got a good mix here. Thank you, everybody on Zoom, and I'm going to try and remember to, look at you guys too. If I get distracted, I apologize in advance. So before we begin, I want to first congratulate anybody in the nonprofit space, or if you are thinking about going into the nonprofit space. I have owned 4 businesses. Right now I own 2 businesses that are both for-profit, but both of those I have residual income on them, so I don't put a whole lot of effort during the week on them. I do more strategic planning with them. And so about 40 to 45 hours of my work week, every single week, is spent in the nonprofit sector. I, for one, would never own a nonprofit. Like, oh my gosh, it's insane and intense. So for those of you that are, thinking about a nonprofit or in that nonprofit space, I really want to champion you and congratulate you on, all of your hard work. You have the tenacity of the next level. So way to go. So no matter whether you're a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, a nonprofit, doesn't matter. I want to kind of take you guys to a space, and I want you to visualize yourself on an island. Very much and so often, the entrepreneurial journey can be summed up in one of two ways. One, you're on an island and it is sunny, your friends are around, you have ample food, you have an abundance of drink, you have all the best coconuts, the bananas, and the strawberries, and all the things. Everything is wonderful, the waves are crashing ashore, it's very relaxing, and you're hanging out. Have you all been there? Yes. Okay, now in your entrepreneurial journey, let's envision the exact opposite. You are on the exact same island. But guess what? A storm is a-brewing. It's coming in. The waves are starting to wreak havoc. The sand beneath you is starting to wash away. Oh my gosh, do I see my mom out on a lifeboat? Yes, I'm going to go to her. No, she's actually going farther away, and I think she's laughing at me. Has anybody ever been in that boat or on that island where you feel 100% deserted? You feel like you see all your friends and family like so far out there, but they're out of reach, and every once in a while you feel like they're judging you and they're laughing at you. Have you been there? Can you feel me? It's painful, right? Anytime, especially as a nonprofit or a creative, anytime you're in that space of feeling totally deserted, a lot of times it can be kind of this funnel effect where you're going down this rabbit hole. You're becoming a little bit more, not extroverted. You're becoming introverted. You're starting to think and question, is it my craft? Is it what I'm doing that's wrong? Is it, whatever it is, you take it and you internalize it. And what does that do? That puts you further down into a rabbit hole where you're not engaging with your community, right? Because you're literally questioning all of your life goals. You're questioning yourself. And so today I want to encourage you to throw that notion out the window. Your project does not suck. You do not suck. Your art, your nonprofit, your business idea, whatever it is viable. There are no bad ideas, only good ideas. And so I want you to take that self-doubt, throw it out the window, and rather look at your community and the people that are around you to help build you up. And the only way that you can do that is through intentional engagement. You need to be transparent about what you're trying to get out of that relationship. And you need to feel empowered so that when you walk into that room, you are totally boss. You are owning it. And when you exude confidence, confidence comes back to you. Would you agree? All right. So as we move on, you really, when we think about the three types of people that you may potentially engage with, you've got your ride or diers, right? Like these are probably your family members, maybe your mom, your dad, maybe your husband, on and off again if you have kids. Sometimes they love you, sometimes it's questionable. These are your ride or diers. That is bucket number one for who you're engaging with. That's usually the most easy people to engage with, right? You can ask them questions. They will give it to you straight. They might sugarcoat it. They're the first to give you a hug. That's great. They're your first bucket of engagement. Your second engagement is those who you admire and that maybe you're social stalking on social media, Facebook, Instagram. You're in a room, but you just don't have the confidence to go up and introduce yourself. You fully know they exist, but they don't know you exist. Do we have can anybody kind of think of some of those people? So for me, some of those people would be like Brittany Howard. She's a musician. I would love to meet Brittany Howard. Last year, I got super gung-ho and reached out to her. Of course, I did not get a response back. Another person for me would be like Michelle Obama. She has no idea that I exist in the world, but I super envy her. I read her books. I follow her social media. I'm a huge fan of her. Another one, Jason Momoa. He's gorgeous. I mean, why wouldn't I follow him? I actually did get to meet him once before he was Jason Momoa. I was in Atlanta at Dragon Con, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with Dragon Con, but I was there by accident. I didn't even know I was going to be there. He was there, and we ended up sitting next to each other at the bar and had a lovely conversation. My husband was there. I was drooling. It was fantastic, and then we went home. Of course, he would never remember that interaction, right? Why? Because it wasn't meaningful to him. It was only meaningful to me. And then your third bucket of people that you're going to engage with are those folks who you've once had contact with, but now you've lost touch. COVID has been a huge factor in losing touch. So it was people that we used to see all the time. Maybe we were in a work scenario where people would be coming in, coming out, and it was very easy to interact with them. And then guess what? The country shut down. We had nobody to interact with unless we were actively going out and getting those interactions through Zoom, which I don't know about you guys. I know you guys are all on Zoom. I could live without Zoom. I'm over it. I'm done with it. Like, let's cancel it. Let's get back to the human touch. But the people that you've lost touch with, that is your third bucket of who you are going to engage with. You want to reconnect with them. At one point, you had something super in common with them, and you want to kind of bring them back into your life. So now that we understand the three buckets of who we're engaging with, next we want to go into intentional engagement. So what does intentional engagement mean? Have you guys, by show of hands, and my friends over on Zoom, by show of hands, have you ever been to a mixer or a social gathering where you did not know everybody in the room? Pretty much literally everybody, right? We've all, I mean, today, we walked in, you guys didn't know me from Sam, and I didn't know you from Sam, so this is a great example. How do you feel when you walk into a room and you don't know everyone? What does that make you feel? And it's, my Zoomers, just pop in and say one-word answers. What do you feel?
Kind of nervous.
Nervous. What else? Little bit of anxiety, little bit of self-doubt. I don't know about you, but I freak out about what I'm going to wear. What is my hair doing? Is my makeup running? Do you want to come in? Zoom, would you guys agree? Anxious, nervous, not totally, not totally in it, not feeling totally empowered. So for those of you that feel anxious into a room, just know that you are among friends. That's a totally normal feeling. Many, many people would never believe I am a closet introvert. I would much rather be at home, not talking, just do not put me in a new room. But I get over it, right? Because I know that on the other side of that, there is some type of community engagement that's going to be beneficial for my audience, but also beneficial for me. And so when you feel those feelings of anxiousness, know that every single person that walks into the room is feeling the exact same way. Whether they look super confident and empowered, or whether they walk into the room with their head down, oh my God, don't look at me, I've got my cell phone. Everybody feels the exact same way. So what I want to do is give you a little something that will help for you to overcome that feeling of anxiousness. And that one-word answer is called preparation. So when you are going to go to an event where you know you're not going to know everybody, which is literally every single event in all across, America, doesn't matter. If you are going to go to that type of event, I need you to prepare. And hold on to that word while I address the people in the room that absolutely love to walk into those types of situations. They feel no anxiety whatsoever, and everybody loves you. You're shaking hands with everybody in the room. If you are that person, the word that I want you to hold on to is intention. Because sometimes when we come in so boisterous and so confident, we lose the intention of why we're there. And what happens is we come across as insincere. And what would you rather connect with as a human? Somebody who's super sincere, that you feel like they want to know just about as much about you as you want to know about them, or this super boisterous, confident, amazing, everything's awesome, but you're not going to listen to a word that I have to say because you're just so confident and full of yourself, right? So if you're that person, intention. If you're the introvert, preparation. So let's talk about preparation. Preparation is simply doing your homework before going to the event. So if you know the organizer of the event, you'll reach out to them and say, hey, who's on the guest list? If you're savvy on social media, you can go onto a Facebook event, go onto the page, and look at the guest list of who entered yes is going, or who entered maybe is going. And start to identify a few people on those lists that you know, whether you really, really know them or you kind of know them. Reach out to 1 or 2 or 3 of those people and say, hey, I'm going to be at this networking event on Thursday. It's at noon. I saw that you maybe want to go. Do you want to go together? Okay, yes, I do want to go together because now that reduces my anxiety. I'm walking in with a friend. Your buddy system, it's a little bit more comfortable, right? So other things that you can do in preparation for creating that intentional engagement is to also know if there's going to be a guest speaker. Know who the guest speaker is, do a little research on them, and come up with 1 to 2 leading questions, open-ended questions, not just yes or no answers, but open-ended questions that you can ask the presenter so that you put yourself in a position of potential leadership within that room. Anytime that I go to a networking function at the end, it's always, okay, who wants to ask questions? I always admire the people who do raise their hand and actually answer a question or ask a question. It shows to me that they were prepared and they knew the topic that was coming into that meeting, but it also shows to me that they are a natural leader. They have the confidence to stand up in that room and ask a question. If you don't have the confidence, just do the preparation and then you'll be confident because you'll know what you're going into. So once you're prepared for that meeting, and now for all my extroverts, I'm bringing you back in, we want to talk about intention. So how do you engage with somebody more intentionally? Like totally on purpose. You want to meet with them. You want to get something out of that relationship. In the in your prep work, while you're looking at who you want to meet, look at if they've achieved something. So you get the guest list, like for today. Rachel sends me a guest list, I'm looking at it, and now I'm kind of stalking you guys on social media. I do a LinkedIn search, I do a Google search, where have you been, what have you done, have you gone on any cool trips? And now I've broken that ice into asking a question. So Angela, we have a common denominator of Airbnbs. And quickly, we identified that, and then we were able to have that conversation. Without knowing that, or without asking that question, how can you intentionally engage with anybody if you have no common ground? So your first question is finding that common ground. So, for example, when I walk into a room, and although chapter chair for SCORE, president of the board of directors for Carnival, most people know me for Carnival. So when I walk into a room, the first question that people ask me, whether they know me or not, they say, oh, what's up for Carnival this year? What do you have planned? And instantly, I will engage with them. And then the next thing that I will do is I will give them a little nugget of information, because what are they going to do when they leave that room? They're going to say, oh, I met the owner or the director of Carnival. Did you know that they're planning this year? And now that word of mouth has started. So while the person was intentional in coming up to me to meet me, I was returning that intention by saying a little nugget, because what is my intention in meeting somebody to talk about Carnival? To help expose it so that Carnival becomes just a general, oh yeah, I know what that is. Oh yeah, I've heard that. But the only way that you can do that is by spreading word of mouth, right? Without having to pay stupid advertising dollars. We're a nonprofit, we don't have a budget for that. So it's all about word of mouth. So when you meet somebody, have that intention to also give them back something that will help to kind of bolster you and boost you up to the next level as well. So if you're sitting here, you have an idea about a business, start dropping little nuggets about that business and about that idea to different people that you meet. And eventually those people will start to share that, and you will have your word of mouth marketing already launched and already going before you even truly launch that whole idea. Any questions on that? We feel good about that? All right, good. So intentional engagement, this is so important. Intentional engagement happens because you are living, not just existing. So the next time that you go to a meeting like this, do your prep work, do your preparation, find out who's going to be there, and really own the space in that room, rather than just showing up. So next I want to talk a little bit about transparency. So the second component of a really good community engagement is transparency. And transparency is framed around the belief that you are not an expert in all the things. So if somebody asks you a question and you totally don't know, it is okay to say, I don't know. Transparency also goes back to, we talked about the 3 buckets of, who are you engaging with? Being transparent with those 3 buckets can help you to become more intentional in those engagements. Also, be transparent with yourself and understand that not every person is your person. It is okay to not have everybody love you. It is okay to not love everybody back. Be kind, be gracious, but they don't have to fit within your circle. When somebody comes to SCORE and says, one of the first questions that we ask is, who is your target market? If that person answers everyone, it does not matter why you came to SCORE. We are going to stop the bus right there and say, okay, we got to talk about that. Not everybody is your target market. When Angela and I first met today, I said, oh, you're going to start an Airbnb, and she instantly knew her target market. It was traveling nurses. Bravo, great job. When you start an Airbnb and you're like, everybody, I think it'll be great, everybody. It will take you so many more dollars to get from point A to point B, and it will take you so much more time to get from point A to point B. So be transparent with yourself about who do you want to engage with, and what are you going to get out of that engagement, and what are they going to get out of that engagement. I want to give you an example of transparency. So I used to own Hustle and Blow Dry Bar. It still is in existence. I sold it back in November of 2019. One of the last projects that I did was for one of my friends. She was getting engaged, and so she was getting married. She was already engaged. She wanted to do a boudoir session for, her fiance or future husband. And so she talked with one of the photographers, and it was a friend of hers, talked with a photographer, and the photographer quickly saw that out of this boudoir session, she wanted to have 2 very different personalities. One, very playful, fun personality. The other side was a little bit more sensual, sultry personality, where, dark shadows, dark lighting versus super light, bright, and airy. Photographer number 1 knew that she was an expert in that light, bright, and airy. She was not confident in the super dark, sultry look. And so she was transparent with the client, which was also her friend, transparent and said, you know what? I can do this, but I want to bring in another photographer to do this. And by doing that, she set the expectation from the client that you're going to have 2 people in the room, but we're going to get exactly what you want. And so we went to the shoot. Photographer 1 did her thing. Photographer 2 did his thing. And for hair and makeup, I was there for hair and makeup. I knew exactly what to do for hair and makeup here, and I knew exactly what to do for hair and makeup here. And so by the photographers being so transparent about who their target was and who their, what they could do, and owning the fact that they did not need to be the one-all be-all solution for everything, just by making that distinction, they had such a success. It was no stress for me because I knew exactly the hair and makeup that was going to need to happen for each session. And the client bought more because she got exactly what she wanted at 100% for both. So when we're talking about transparency and you really owning what you don't know, part of community engagement is looking at who your network is and building your network with people who fill the holes for what you cannot do or don't want to do. And so when you're looking at, your friend group, your client group, your colleague group, or maybe you're an entrepreneur who's hiring people, the people that you bring into your circle should make you complete. They should not be your clone. We all have areas of opportunity for growth, and we all have things that we're generally just not good at or we're not passionate about, and that's okay. You don't need to be. Just find the people that are a good match to you, not your perfect clone. Okay, so I want to ask you guys, in the spirit of transparency, currently where you're at right now with your job, or if you're starting, a startup, what do you love most? What is your absolute most favorite task or job? When you wake up, you're like, ooh, I can't wait to tackle that. And my Zoomers, you guys can chime in too.
About the business we're in now, or maybe the potential business that we're gonna.
Either, yeah, either.
For me, as real estate, what I enjoy doing is connecting with people and or researching different types of homes or areas, or so that I can gather that knowledge to impart to whoever my potential clients are.
So Angela likes the hunt.
Yeah.
You like the hunt. You like to get out there, okay, what do I got out here? Okay, this looks good, this looks good, this looks good, right? All right, who else? Yes.
I enjoy teaching about food safety. Outside of that, something that's close to my heart that I didn't think would be, is I enjoy cleaning ceiling tiles for restaurants.
You enjoy cleaning ceiling tiles for restaurants. Amazing. We are a perfect match because you would not catch me dead doing that. Although I bet it's very therapeutic and rewarding seeing the to the amazing. All right, we're a good match. Your name?
It's Terry.
Terry, nice to meet you. All right, who else? What do you absolutely love? Connie. Is it Connie? Who's?
Connie.
Hi, Connie. Connie,
Hi, Jess.
how are you? Tell me, Connie, what do you love about your day? What do you love?
I know. I just love. I love meeting new people. I love those opportunities to. Currently, because I'm new to the area, I like meeting the new people and then trying to connect these people and what they have, what their specialty is, with any other projects that we have going on, and who else can I connect them with, like building those bridges and those connections
Connie,
as I go.
I can tell that you like that, and you're very good at that. Connie and I have an opportunity to work together, and Connie, you are the bridge builder. You're excellent at it.
Thank you. I like it.
What else? Who else on Zoom? Meeting others and networking. I love it. All right, so now I want to ask you, what do you absolutely dread? What part do you hate of your day? What is like, oh gosh, don't make me do that again. That's the worst. But you just do it and you power through it.
Taking notes.
Taking notes. Keyshawn, I hear you.
I mean, it's necessary. It's very necessary, especially I'm taking notes right now as we speak. But, sometimes in the back of my head, I wish I would have someone to do like all of the clerical work I don't really care for. I think that would definitely help. Like, scheduling people. Like, literally, I love, and I'm sorry to piggyback on the last question, I love talking to people. I love getting to know people. Why? Because I believe that I am a citizen of the world. Savannah is an international city. That's
love that.
that's the big plan, right? The little things, however, I really don't care for. So someone that can handle all of that.
All right, so all the little details, Keyshawn, I'm going to find you someone, right?
That
Contract
would be appreciated.
negotiation. So contract negotiation, we don't like it. Bookkeeping, we don't like it. Marketing and being told no, oh, I like that answer. Idell, I don't like being told no either. I hear you, girl. Okay, to me, it's a lot easier to come up with the things that I don't like. And why is that? When you really, really start discovering why you don't like something, your body goes through a change. You become more fatigued. If you approach a day that you know that 90% of that day is filled with tasks that you absolutely don't love, like maybe it's doing your bookkeeping. I know tomorrow is my day to do taxes, and I'm dreading it. I have an accountant, but I still have to get her stuff. And just having to go through that. It's like, I know by tomorrow I'm going to be exhausted. And so you have to listen to your body in these moments. If you are left feeling really, really energized, these are your natural inclinations. If you are left feeling tired and exhausted, and you're just like, I do not understand why I'm so tired, look at what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. And I can guarantee you there is a direct correlation to how you're stretching your brain and it's leaving you fatigued versus doing things that come very, very easily. And so as an entrepreneur, or starting your own business or thinking about starting your own business or being a creative, when you really want to live in the space of 75% energizing and exciting. 25% is that growth. Growth is uncomfortable. I just started a stupid new Peloton workout. It is killing me. And all they keep saying in it is growth is uncomfortable. I'm like, yes, I feel it. Yes, I agree. But growth is uncomfortable. In order to change, you've got to put yourself out there into those uncomfortable moments. So whether it's walking into a room filled with people that you don't know, that might, make you so tired by the end of it, you can overcome that by doing that preparation, by being intentional about who you want to meet. And then you're stretching where eventually maybe it won't be so tiresome. Maybe it won't be so draining on you. And if you continue to put that into practice, eventually it will become the norm. And the reason that I say 75% of the time that you want to stay in that, super excited, energized state, because that's the stuff that comes easily to you. If you're finding an imbalance where you're, 50-50, then you want to start looking at your network of community of who can help you to fill the holes in your bucket. You do not have to. If there's 100 holes and you only have 10 fingers and 10 toes, you're only going to be able to fill 20 holes. Now you've still got 80 holes that need to be filled. You need friends. You need a community. And whoever that community is needs to be a complement to you, not a clone of you. So I want to talk about the second part of transparency, and that is nothing is worse than producing non-authentic work. And so when you're looking at those engagements, and somebody comes to you and they're like, oh, could you create this ceramic bowl for me? Well, I really like to do ceramic vases. I don't really like bowls. Okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to make it for the client but not feel 100% like jazzed and excited about it? Or are you going to pass it on to somebody else? What would you do? Is the real answer, how bad do I need the money? So eventually we don't want to have to be money driven. We want to be passion driven. And when you can switch that, I'm only going to do projects that I'm really, really passionate about, and I'm going to pass on the things that I am not passionate about, that's when you're truly, truly winning as an entrepreneur. And when you can go from, I'm only going to do the things that make my heart happy, I can promise you that your revenues will start to increase as well. Because what you do is you walk into that room feeling confident and empowered, and when you showcase your work, every single piece, you have this super passionate story. And what do people do? They connect to the story, right? When we try to do something or try to tell something, usually it is story-based. If I told you 7 facts about me, but then I told you the exact same 7 facts within a story, you can probably recall that story a lot easier. And so when we look at engagement, it's all about that transparency. Know who you are, own who you are, and be intentional about it. So this is going to be a little bit difficult because so many of you are on Zoom, and I hope that you can see this. I want to play out 3 different scenarios of intentional engagement. So I need a volunteer to come up. Rachel, I'm going to use you first. Okay, so you're going to come into the room as if you don't know anybody in the room, but we've just talked about intentional engagement, where you know who I am. Now you know who Angela is. And so I want you to walk into the room showing intention that you are here for a given purpose.
All right. Do I have a scene?
Scene, go.
Wait, how I should do it or how I would really do it?
Okay, let's see how you'd really do it. Let's see how you'd really do it. And now, how have we grown today?
Well, I would probably walk in and wait a little bit for an in.
Yeah, just to kind of hear the room, right? Wait for, oh, I could connect to that.
Yeah, kind of wait for the eye contact or to the kind of have around.
All right, now that you know, okay, so you've done your homework, you've done your preparation to be here. You know me, you know Angela now, you know CJ. So now, how are you going to walk into the room with intention and that feeling of empowerment, like you're taking up the space in this room? And scene.
All right. Like, hi, Jess.
Hey, Rachel,
Hey.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Go ahead.
Oh, no.
Nope, you go ahead.
No, sorry. I was gonna say I was gonna ask how Carnival is going so far this year.
Carnival is going so good. I actually heard of a brass drumming beat, Brazilian brass drummers that you guys do here at the Cultural Resource
Yeah.
Center. I would love to meet them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and I was thinking for your event too. I don't know if you're aware. Besides the programs that we have in our facility, we also have some funding opportunities for arts programs that are happening in the community.
Awesome.
So I didn't know if that was something that might kind of fit in with Carnival, since it is such an artistic and kind of cultural event in the community. I can get you in contact with CJ, and he.
That'd be amazing. Okay, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, scene. Yay, Rachel. Everybody give Rachel a round of applause. Okay, so Rachel originally we're going to walk into the room, maybe the head's down, kind of scoping, kind of that silent, creeper, right? Or She's going to walk into the room, and now she's just accomplished something because she walked into the room. Jess, how's Carnival planning going? Oh, it's going great. Oh, I heard about this. I heard about that. And now there's a conversation with a follow-up. So that follow-up is, I'm going to introduce you to CJ. If Rachel doesn't introduce me to CJ, I'm going to go and stalk out CJ because I was being intentional about that communication, but Rachel was also being intentional because she needs to promote the Cultural Resource Center, right? So who else wants to try that? Somebody on Zoom, who would like to try? You don't have to walk in and out.
Obviously.
Kirsten, are you there?
I would like to attempt.
All right, Keyshawn, let's do it. And then Kirsten, I'm going to pick on you as my third volunteer.
Well, hello. How is everything going?
Hey, Keyshawn, good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm just in the area. I'm trying to promote for my organizations, the Velvet Gala, the Mediation Center. It's our big fundraising event of the year. And we need some assistance, either get us some sponsors or getting people to donate to our online auction.
Awesome.
Yes,
Tell
I
me
was
about
wondering.
Keyshawn, tell me a little bit about the community that it serves. What does your fundraiser, you're raising money for what?
So think about mediation. Again, we're the Mediation Center of the Coastal Empire. Think about mediation. Think about going to court. You know, you have a dispute with someone, and instead of going through the entire legal process, court is expensive. Instead of going through that process, think about the step below it and getting a mediator, a third-party neutral, to basically help you guys get to some sort of consensus and resolve the issue. Well, we do that for not just adults, we do that for kids. My particular department, youth programs, we go into the schools, K through 12, the public schools, and we train students on how to become peer mediators so that they could navigate the various conflicts that occur within their schools. We have the Ambassadors Peace Program. That particular program gets into those kids in the foster care system and some those who are in the juvenile court system. Again, we're given the tools to train them on how to become peer mediators in their own right, giving them conflict resolution, conflict management skills. And then again, the BRAVE program, that particular program, we go throughout the community. I'm like just a few days ago, I was over at the park, the Pennsylvania Resource Center, and we did an entire session, a little class on active listening. So again, giving these kids conflict management and resolution skills. So that's what we do. That's just a part. We also have a family law center, but that's just a part of some of the stuff we do for the community.
That's awesome. So Keyshawn, I want to take you through two different scenarios there of what happened. So the first thing that happened, Keyshawn, he knew the end result was, I got to find money, right? Rather than lead with, hey, I'm looking for sponsors, start with the story. Any human connects to a story more than they connect to that dollar, right? So hook them in, and I champion you to do this, Keyshawn. Hook them in by telling a story, by telling a compelling story, a specific need. And I can promise you, anybody that you're talking to, if they are the right target, they're going to be like, oh my God, just take all my money. Do you need sponsors for that? They're going to be offering that sponsorship to you rather than you having to ask for it. They just want to be involved. How does that sound for you, Keyshawn? Good?
That sounds good to me.
All right, lead with the story. All right, Kirsten, where are you? Hi.
Hi.
It's so good to see you.
You too. It's been so long.
I know. Okay, so Kirsten, tell me a little bit. Give me your pitch. Give me your. I know we've worked on this. So tell me a little bit. Walk into that room and own that room and introduce yourself to me.
Okay. I was already pre-planning this and then you threw me off. I was going to ask all about Carnival and mix my trauma-informed information into why it's necessary there, but let me switch gears with what you asked for. Okay. Hi, Jess. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm super excited to meet with you. I know after it's still ongoing, but the past few years with COVID and how it's affected the community, I know that we are all feeling it. Have you heard about trauma sensitive yoga classes?
You know what? I think I saw something with the city that, are you doing something with the city right now with that?
Yeah. So I actually just started working with Chatham County Safety Net Planning Council. We are building a trauma informed coalition for some of the local yoga instructors, and we're partnering with spaces such as Gateway to really help bring body therapy into spaces that are already offering talk therapy.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah,
How can I help? How can I get involved with that?
Yeah, so we have a couple different ways you can get involved. We have the coalition, and even though we're looking to educate yoga instructors, the coalition is open for anybody to join if they're interested in learning more about the trauma sensitive approach when it comes to body therapy. I also have my own business, and it's called Duality Rising. And I specifically focus on addiction and eating disorders. And currently, I'm looking for spaces and funding to help start a peer led eating disorder support group here. Do you think that's something that maybe you could lead me in the right direction or offer some help in?
Yeah, I actually have a lady for you, and it would be Georgiana, which I would introduce you to.
Yeah.
So, but I would close with, I don't, but I do know of a lady who could totally help you and is actually looking to partner with somebody in trauma sensitive yoga. So in that situation, Kirsten, I am fortunate. I don't have an eating disorder. I don't have an addiction disorder, but I know of somebody within my circle who also lives within that space. So while I may not personally be able to connect to Kirsten's mission, I can connect her to somebody else who has the same mission. And now Kirsten can go and meet with Georgiana, and Georgiana fulfills one hole in the bucket, Kirsten fulfills another hole in the bucket, and together they're filling that water of the bucket. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you. All right, so how does that feel? It's all about, when you're making that engagement, it's all about the personal connection. Of course, 9 times out of 10, we're asking somebody to buy something or we're asking somebody to sponsor something. Take the money off of the table. The money will automatically happen when you make the intentional, personal engagement, and you're very transparent by sharing the story and saying, this is the need, this is where we're at right now. And your hope is that you can connect so powerfully with that story that they just, open up their pockets and write you the check and are like, I want you take all my money. It happens, trust me. So the final stage of community engagement, we've gone through intentional engagement, we've gone through transparency of really knowing who your target audience is, who is not, filling your bucket, and kind of, navigating through that and really owning that space. The third and final is the empowerment. When you do your homework about walking into a room, when you research the people that you want to either ask for money or hire on as a client or bring on as a client, you do the research, then you can start feeling more empowered because you actually have some history there, right? Now, you won't know everything about that person, but that's where the engagement is fun. You can ask questions. You can get to know them better. They can get to know you better. And that's how you expand that market. And while not everybody will be able to fulfill the need that you are requesting, they may know somebody who can fulfill that need. So if you do a direct ask to them and it's a no, that's okay. It doesn't mean that your story was not powerful. It doesn't mean that, you need to go cry. Feel empowered. And say, oh, you know what? If you don't, maybe you know that they have, 2 connections over, could you introduce me to this person? I know that they would really connect with this. Well, yes, I would love to. You seem lovely. And it truly is that simple. We take out all this anxiety, we take out all the fear of rejection, and we say, not everybody is going to be my person. It's okay if I hear no. I'm going to utilize that to get to the person that I need to get to. And you just keep going, and you keep going. So now I want to go back to, remember in the very beginning, we kind of had that visualization of this crazy island. It was storming, the trees were falling, the ground was coming out from underneath you, life was crazy, everything was going nuts. Now that you know how to control a situation and otherwise would cause you anxiety, what do? You swim, you are empowered to swim off the island and go to one of those lifeboats that was sitting out there. Prior, it may not have been even a thought in your mind. You're just thinking, no, come and save me, come and save me. But now you're empowered to swim out and get to that life raft and get in it, and you're gonna be fine. All right, so now I want to open it up to you guys. I want to have conversation, questions. You know, Jess, you paint this picture, it sounds perfect, but there's no way that it's actually going to work for me. I get that too. So let's open it up to questions. Zoom, just shout it out. In the room, shout it out. Does this resonate with you guys?
For me, it does. I'm totally an introvert. But for real estate, in the past, it's been really, really good for me. And this past year, of course, it's really, really been good. But it just happened that way. I have a hard time because I hate social media. I'm a pretty private person. And I know people who are in real estate that are extremely successful because they post everything about their lives. So networking a one-on-one, face-to-face is easier. But with COVID, how do you, like, this is probably the first event that I've been to in a long time that is outside of work, you know, well,
Yeah.
like going to work. So how do you get yourself in the room with the right people when there's not a lot of opportunity to do that because I'm not really into the whole social media aspect?
Yeah, so utilize different, the city has a plethora of different programs. And look at the programs, even though, like, even if you were going to take a ceramics class, just try something new, or maybe a dance class. Even if you're going to it for personal enjoyment, there's always professional gain that you can pull out of that. So I know for me and my husband, we go out to dinner at least once a week. Every single time we're out to dinner, we're talking to the wait staff, or maybe we make friends with the table next to us. And we're just engaging intentionally there. And it just becomes a part of your DNA in that if I walked into a restaurant and just sat and ate and didn't talk to anybody, that would be so out of the norm for me. But still, I'm very, very introverted. But I've just conditioned myself that if I'm going to put myself out there, whether it's in a public space for personal reasons, or it's in a public space for professional reasons, I'm making connections. Other questions, other feedback? Yeah.
So I'm happy that you mentioned everybody is not your customer, because when I went into business years ago, being a food safety professional, I thought everybody was my customer. And I wasted a lot of money in marketing and came to realize everybody was not my customer. In the process of doing my relaunch, I looked back over my customer base and I realized that the service that I am most passionate about was the seal and tile cleaning. I knew exactly which segment gave me the most business in seal and tile cleaning, and it happens to be pizza restaurants. And I understand from a QA standpoint why seal and tile cleaning is important to them. because of inspections. But I still think I will have a hard time walking into the room and creating a story, because outside of the QA piece, why are ceiling tiles, the cleaning of ceiling tiles, so important to you? And safety, because I do understand the safety aspect of it. So QA and safety. But outside of that, I don't know if I will be able to develop a story and be able to carry it.
Do you have, so we're talking, for those of you on Zoom, in case you didn't hear, we're talking about that not every single customer is your customer, and really honing in on the market that you want to target, but how do you develop that story to make it intentional engagement that makes sense for the people that you're meeting with? And so what I would say to you is stop worrying about the ceiling tiles and start making just personal friends with these restaurant owners or whoever the decision makers are within the spaces that you're going in to clean the tiles. The tiles is your end game. That's your moneymaker. Take the money off the table. Go in, have a casual conversation. How do you think of it when you're starting to, find a new client? Think just back to dating. You're dating your client. When you first started dating your significant other, what did that look like? It was probably a little awkward, but you probably asked a lot of questions, right? Because you need to get to know these people to know if they're going to mass murder you or if they're going to be okay, right? So take the end game off the table. Forget about it. Don't worry about it. I know for my husband, he goes to people's homes. He owns his own business, but he goes to people's homes to do his appointments. For me, that would be so awkward. But he has a really, really thick northern accent, and so that's what he leads with, and he owns it. Rather than trying to be this southern boy with the, y'all, hey, whatever, he owns his northern accent because that's his icebreaker. He's not even thinking about selling shutters. He wants to know if you know anybody from Michigan, because then he's going to tell you a story about Michigan. You may talk about for 20 seconds his shutters. You're hearing about Michigan, and then his dogs, and then he just got the COVID vaccine, and la 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 la. Never talking about the end game, just getting to know them on a personal level. And usually if you throw out 3 to 4 questions, there's going to be something that you can find a connection with. And you'll be like, oh my gosh, let me tell you this story, right? Okay, other questions? Yep. Gloria.
Hi.
Hi.
I actually had a comment and a question. So which do you want me to say first?
Whatever you are most comfortable with.
Okay, so as far as the comment with the lady that was saying she's really private and she's not really into social media, the thing that I would want to add is that I felt the same way when social media, Facebook first came out, but the thing that I do with Facebook is you can choose what you want to put on there. If I don't know if the lady is on social media, you can put a joke of the day, something really funny, and everybody's looking forward to it. If you go to my Facebook page, you're not going to see a whole lot of stuff about me. You're going to see my paintings because I paint. You're going to see stuff about my cat because sometimes I think she doesn't realize that she is a cat. She always wants to take the remote. She does. And you'll see a picture of her sitting on the remote. And when she walks over, the TV changes. So you see stuff like that. Plus, I love Wonder Woman. So I'm always posting stuff with Wonder Woman, my music, share different things. So it doesn't have to be, my grandbaby's coming over, my daughter's in college, just all those other kind of things and give people, well, I wonder what she's going to put on there next. And that you could use as a free tool of, advertising marketing. That's what I do. I put my paintings up there and
So
people are
Gloria,
asked if they like it.
I would say, Gloria, that you are building a story for connection through your social media site, where you're not necessarily doing anything personal and you're not, selling anything super hard. You're just sharing your story or your personality through visuals. Is that pretty accurate, Gloria?
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't know that's what I was doing.
That's what you're doing, sister?
So the other thing that I really want to ask you is like, and it's like with my church. Okay, so the church numbers is kind of like going down because number one of COVID, and then a lot of members have, passed on. And so when you're trying to put yourself out there and you're trying to get some of the older members to kind of buy in to the 21st century church, what are, and you can use this for any organization, nonprofit or a business, when you have that mixed group where the majority thinks like the 80s and the 90s, how things were and then how things are. What are some things that you can do to get, I mean, because the whole story, I don't know if that will work for our church. Just, understand what I'm
Yep, I
trying to
do.
say?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I would do in that situation, you've got, you're losing some of your clients, even if it's a church, your parishioners, whatever, they're still your clients. If you're losing them, you've got to understand or come and meet them where they're at in order to bring them back on your journey. So I would say lots of questions, maybe a survey. If they're comfortable with Zoom, getting them on Zoom and just having a think tank question and make them feel, they probably feel, especially since COVID, they feel isolated. And so how do we reach them in a community? And you start with asking questions and really understanding, the layers of their heart. Where are they at right now? How can we overcome your anxieties? How can we, kind of shift your thinking? And like you said, Gloria, they may not resonate with the new church and the way that new things are done. And so how can we make them feel most comfortable, yet still be engaged? And they will probably offer up a lot of solutions, a ton of solutions. Because what are they doing? They're sitting at home talking about it with their friends. Like, oh, I just wish the church would do this. Why aren't they doing that? They probably have some really great solutions. It's just get to them and understand where they're at in this moment. Does that help?
It does help, but one thing I wanted to ask is if it's possible that I can put my number in the chat, and maybe because some other people are sending me links or when they're talking. So if somebody else wanted to just like share some of the things that they put out there, I just wanted to put my number so we can talk like off the cat, because I think this is the whole thing, is meeting new people. That's all I
Yeah,
wanted
and
to know if I could do that.
Gloria, if you go to savannah.score.org and go to request a mentor, ask specifically for a mentor in the nonprofit space, because in the nonprofit space, we're always talking about that community engagement. And so reach out, ask for a mentor, and we'll have somebody in contact with you specific to, nonprofits, particularly churches.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh gosh, I'm gonna butcher this, so I'm sorry. Salathiel?
It's Salathiel.
Salathiel, okay, it wasn't that far off. That's a pretty
I'm
name.
sorry to laugh at you.
No, it's totally fine. I'm sorry that I couldn't get it.
It's okay. It's okay. It happens often. One of my statement, I am an introvert. So I run into the space of when you enter into a mixer or things of that nature, I find myself off, for lack of better wording, in a corner. So the information that you provided today was really helpful. That space of doing your research on the people before you enter into the room. So really helpful information because most of my life I've been kind of like the cocoon, and I'm in this in the cocoon, and I'm in the stage now of life of, I guess, that butterfly trying or attempting to come out, but I don't know people in that community of which I'm attempting to come out. So going into those rooms is intimidating, not even just a little intimidating, it's just intimidating, period. So you gave great information with regards to that. But on the opposite side, in that same space, when you go into the room, you have to remember the person's name. I'm not good with names, but I'm good with faces. So what is your suggestion there?
There is no shame in your game if you're not good at name remembering. It's okay. And just say, you own it. And just say, you know what, I'm really good with faces and I will remember every single fact about you, but remind me your name. And it's okay to say that. Another trick that people will say is if you take in that name and then use it almost immediately 3 times, that you'll have a better likelihood of remembering it. There are times that will not work because your nerves of the situation will overcome you. If people could just own not knowing a name and just say, I am so sorry and this is so embarrassing, remind me your name again, it's okay. It's totally fine. If everybody would do that and own that, we would all have so much less anxiety, but there's such a pressure of, oh, I've got to remember their name. Usually, so another thing that I'll do, if I'm at a networking event, I will ask for the business card because I'm a very visual person. If I read something, I'm a lot more likely to remember it than if I'm just, I hear it. And so ask for that business card and just take a moment to really look at it and it may sink in. Or when you get out of that meeting, I will always take 10 minutes to jot down notes from that meeting, whether it was a big group meeting or a networking event or a one-on-one. I'm kind of like Keyshawn. I don't like to take notes, find it very tiresome. But after the fact, I will take that extra 10 minutes and be like, okay, this. Okay, I've got to follow up on this. Oh, I want to be introduced to that person next time, and write that down. And then the next time that you're within that group, revisit those notes and it will kind of put you right back into that space again.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, what else? Do we have any other questions or comments or, hey, Jess, you did this class great, but I think I could do way better, that you have something that would work really, really good? This is a community. We all have a common ground, right? Probably most of us are a little bit introverted or have a little bit of anxiety going into a room, right? So we already have that in common. Anything else? Well, if there is nothing else, I really want to thank you guys. Thank you on Zoom. Hopefully, the loudness and everything came across clear and it wasn't too frustrating. Thank you for everybody who joined us here in the room together. I super appreciate it. Again, for more information about SCORE or if you want to connect specifically to a mentor, go to savannah.score.org. You can click on Take a Workshop or you can click on Connect with a Mentor. If you are specific to nonprofits, make sure that you put that in your notes because we have a nonprofit team. If you're a for-profit or an ideation phase, we have 53 mentors who have all lived and breathed every single phase of business life. And so we have somebody that can connect with you too. And thank you guys so much. And thank you, Rachel, for having us here today.
Come stand next to you for the microphone purposes. But thank you, everyone, for joining us. This is our first professional workshop we're doing this year. The next one we're doing will focus on a little bit more nonprofit side, focus on the grant side. So kind of getting started in some grant writing, which whether that's in your personal life or in your professional life or whether that's something you're doing on the side, I'm just kind of getting into that scene. And then we'll send out a survey and let us know kind of where a topic in communication or that kind of grant will go. And we'll kind of stay in this marketing and grant theme throughout the year.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thanks, you guys. Have a good day.